Hello class, we're continuing with rural development. We learned about development and how it is essential for everyone throughout the world. We learned about the elements of rural development, which should include basic necessities of life, self-respect and freedom. We also learned about the determinants for the quality of life of rural people. It should include human resource, natural resource, technology, capital, and institutions and other organizations which will be helpful in improving the quality of life of rural people. We learned about the factors that affect the level and pace of rural development, because rural development is not similar everywhere. It varies at different levels, or the pace of rural development is different. And the factors that affect the level and pace of rural development are physical factors, technological factors, social, economical factors, cultural factors, institutional, organizational factors, or even political factors. And these factors operate at all levels: household, village, state, nation, or the world. We have the goals of rural development. The goals of rural development, there are four basic goals, and that includes the quality of life of the citizen, the generation of productive employment, regional balances, and self-reliance. So these four goals are at the center of any rural development policies. Rural development before independence. So I have divided my presentation into two, that is rural development before independence and rural development after independence. So before independence, we can see that there was a lot of rulers or princely states, and these princely states never neglected the village people who were basically engaged in agriculture. We find a sort of feudal system which was prevalent in India, and this may be a little different from the European feudal lord system, but still these people were engaged in agriculture. They paid all the tributes to the feudal lords, and that created problems, that there was revolt, everything we have learned in our previous classes about it also. The British government's effort, they actually put in a lot of effort because they knew the that India was a country with a lot of potential, and they had we can divide the whole we can divide the efforts during this British period into two. One is the developmental efforts which was put forward by the British government, and the efforts made by voluntary organization. And industrial revolution which took place in Europe actually influenced our small Indian villages too. The British government actually brought in the steam engine and laid railway tracks all across the length and breadth of India. They wanted to take the raw materials from here, taking it to their own country, finishing it and bringing it back. This actually revolutionized the way the Indian villages were thinking and producing, but still at the same time it took away employment from many village artisans, because the product that they were producing are being brought back to India at a very cheaper rate. The gain was basically for the big peasants, and that made a transition from the food crops to the cash crops which gave them a lot of money rather than just consuming food. And efforts made by government could be put into three categories. One is that, as I said, they brought in the cash economy. Cash was given importance, or everything was seen from a monetary beneficial point of view. Then they also brought in irrigational facilities for the agricultural people. And the last one is a Royal Commission on Agriculture, which was set up in 1926. It was set up to examine and report on the prevailing conditions of agriculture, and it also made recommendations for improvement. The other efforts by the British government included few things like provision for irrigation facilities, establishment of cooperative societies, creation of a research committee for the upliftment or looking after the problems of agriculture. And next, we will look into the efforts which were made by voluntary organization like Sevagram, which was Gandhiji's idea of an Indian village, an ideal Indian village. And he established Sevagram Ashram in 1935. It was based in Wardha, and he imparted education to the weaker section of the village surrounding Wardha, and the development program included sanitation, adult education, promotion of village industries, and potable water. Shanti Niketan is yet another example which was actually put forward by Rabindranath Tagore. He brought in a little different idea, and he said that the villagers should be staying close to themselves. They should be more self-reliant, and this was an education should be given more importance. And Shanti Niketan was very closely linked with the village life, its sanitation, health, cottage industry, and welfare. It was not like Wardha, because here Shanti Niketan did not provide any infrastructural facilities to the surrounding village, but it created an awakening among the villagers, or it set a benchmark for others to just come up to that level of self-reliance. Lastly, I would like to tell about a lot of literary works during this time. There were a lot of people who were writing in regional languages, writing in Hindi, and about the problems of village men, fictional characters, and there were writers like Premchand, Jaishankar Prasad, and Sharat Chand, who actually created and recreated stories which people read very vastly. They talked about the exploitative zamindari caste system, or the government's role. They talked about the flood, talked about the plague that happened during this period. With this, I would like to just conclude the second part of my presentation, which talked about the rural development, its elements, and what the Britishers had done, what happened prior to independence. That is what we had discussed. Thank you.